YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with my locks of week 2. Week 1 went pretty damn well. I'm excited about week 2 here in these videos. I go over my locks for spread picks, straight up, money line / upsets, over-unders, and then we rank my best bets, which is essentially a parlay. You can pick out how many games you want. So yeah, last week they went pretty well there. So it's a tough week 2. I'm excited about it though. On the bottom left, you see our upload schedule. So a lot of those videos for week 2 already out. There's a game tonight, live analysis on our Twitter. So make sure you follow us there for live updates and more. Twitter subscribers get bonus content that you see underneath me. But if you're looking for score predictions, picks against the spread for every single game, that is the most recent video that is always up on Wednesday. Sponsors, Liquid IV, GLD Shop, code GOAT on both. I'm rocking the Giants chain, which is one of my favorites, by the way. It's a lot bigger than the other ones. But this is from the GLD Shop. They have NFL teams, some players as well, and then plenty of jewelry. They're also supplying giveaway for us and Picks League prizes. Links pinned in the comments for social media sponsors, giveaway, Picks League, things like that. So let's go on to these locks here. So the spread lock for week 2, you see my record for week 1 in the top right. We did not miss one of these last week. But the main focus is on the actual lock, which this week is a little tougher, but I went with the Giants minus 4.5. That actually went from 5.5 to 4.5. But the Giants looked so bad last week, and I think that's why people are putting money on the Cardinals, because the Cardinals maybe outplayed the Commanders or were close to winning, close to outplaying them, and the Giants look like maybe the worst team in football in week 1. I think people are buying a little bit, into week 1, a little bit too much. I like the matchup for the Giants. The defense will get back on track. They're going to blitz a shit ton. They're going to blitz Josh Jacobs, and he's not the best quarterback in the world. Maybe he's underrated. Maybe he's better than people think, but they're going to get after him on the blitz. They're going to make him uncomfortable. They're going to get turnovers. But the Cardinals could do pretty decent on the ground. I don't expect them to win the game based on their ground game. The Giants should get back on track with offense as well. Jonathan Gannon coaches a good defense over there. He's familiar with the Giants. Brian Daboll from last year playing them twice, but not that he had a lot of success against them. The Cardinals just don't really have the talent out there. I don't think the Giants will score a ton of points, but I think their defense is going to lock it down. They're going to cause problems for Josh Dobbs, mainly with that blitz. So I'm going to go with them. I love it minus 4.5. It was 5.5. 4.5 feels better, obviously. The Dolphins at 2. I see a lot of experts picking the Patriots against the spread. I'm just in a disagreement. We'll see. It is in New England on Sunday night. I'm sure Bill Belichick will have a pretty good game plan. The Dolphins, I don't want to base too much off week 1, but they're by far the most explosive offense. 536 yards, ridiculous. Tua was on point. Tyreek Hill was on point. They can win in multiple ways. They can beat you anytime. Even when you know what's coming, they can beat you. It's that type of offense early in the season. We'll see how it is the rest of the year, but I'd imagine pretty good. But I just look at the matchup factor here, too, as well, because why were the Dolphins so successful against the Chargers? Well, number 1, the Dolphins are very good on offense, a well-called offense, very good passing game. They have good players. But number 2, they beat up man coverage. The Chargers were in man coverage 80% of snaps, which is wild. But, does anybody run more man coverage than Bill Belichick's defense in New England? Over the last several years, no. So they're going to run man coverage, and the Dolphins will beat it up. I think the Patriots figured out something on offense at the end of that Eagles game, so there could be some success. I don't think they have the success the Chargers had against the Dolphins defense, I should say, because they got Herbert, they got Eckler, they got Mike Williams, they got Keenan Allen. They got options, more than that, too. And they have pretty good offensive linemen, the Chargers. The Patriots don't have those. They have explosive players. They don't have those explosive players. They don't have those, they don't have Rashawn Slater out there, on the offensive line. So I like the Dolphins covering that 2.5. In a bottom line win by a field goal, I have them winning by 7. I could even see it being 10, somewhere around there. I like those top 2 a lot more than the rest, but the Chargers are number 3, minus 3. This is one to monitor, I guess, because guys could be out. Joey Bosa and Austin Eckler are questionable. I got the sense that Eckler would play, but then they picked up a running back in their practice squad, so that's a little scary. So I guess something to watch for, but I still like them. The Chargers didn't win last week, but they won on offense. They did very well on offense with the run game, but they can win with the pass. I think actually better, in a more impressive way with Justin Herbert and company, those receivers, Rashawn Slater protecting, not just him, the whole offensive line, Zion Johnson, Jamari Sawyer, all these guys, they're all fairly solid offensive linemen. They had a really good showing last week, I thought, maybe except for that last play. but they, are going to hold it down for Herbert in this game, and then they're going to air it out against Tennessee Titans, and I think that'll get them a win by more than 3. The Titans might be able to run pretty damn well on the Chargers, but if the Chargers just get ahead with the pass game and they're going to take the run away, I wouldn't imagine that Tannehill, that passing offense is much of a threat for the Chargers. So I think they'll win by 7 points, possibly more. They're only favored by 3. Keep an eye on those injuries, though. Eagles play tonight, -6. They have some injuries, but so are the Vikings. It's also a bad matchup for the Vikings, not to mention it's Thursday night, primetime Vikings, primetime Kirk Cousins in Philly. You know how that went last year with that crowd in this game. And then just for multiple reasons. The Vikings defense looks a little better this year than last year, but I think it's because they rely on pass rush and the blitz, and it's pretty good when it's effective, but against the Eagles' offensive line, won't be as much effective. Against Jalen Hurts, will not be as much, as effective as last week. And then you got the Vikings' offense, which Eagles' secondary is not as good as last year, and the Vikings can throw the ball, but the Vikings struggle to block interior defenses, and the Eagles have a very good interior defensive line, and I think their edge rushers could get some wins in this one as well. So I think it's a bad matchup. I think the Eagles win by more than a touchdown. The Jacksonville Jaguars +3.5. I think they can win the game. I think they can win the game against the Chiefs, and they're getting 3.5 points. I like that it's over that 3-point mark, so I do like that one as well. Again, I like the top 2 a bit more than the other ones. I do like the other ones, is why I listed them. I'm not forcing anything. But again, the main purpose is to focus on the actual lock, and my actual lock is the Giants. But the 5 I listed last week, in some weeks, it might not be 5. But the 5 I listed last week went 5-0. The lock hit as well. So it was pretty good on the spread locks last week. Moving on to the straight-up lock. So who's just going to win? Straight up, take away the spread. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. And last week, we had the win on the lock. It was the Ravens. And then the straight-up picks went 3-2. So, all right. But the top 3, so my order of confidence went 3-0 there. So we did pretty well there as well. Especially because we did get that lock. I'm going to go with the Cowboys against the Jets, because this isn't a pick of who's going to win by the most. I actually think the Bills or the Niners might win by more than the Cowboys, but I'm going to have the Cowboys straight up lock, and they have a better chance of winning because this one could stay close just because how good the Jets defense is, but I just can't imagine the Jets scoring enough points on offense to win this game. I think it could be close, but I'm pretty damn confident with the Cowboys winning. They're going to make plays on defense. They're going to create turnovers, and they're going to set their offense up for pretty good field position. The Jets just don't have that offense to push to win this game against a very good football team, the Dallas Cowboys. Niners at 2. The Rams did look really good last week. The Niners were like the best team in football. It's a bad matchup for the Rams as well. Stafford looked good, but he always struggles against the 49ers defense. They're going to get a pass rush on him. They're not going to be able to do a whole lot. And then defensively, it's kind of Aaron Donald carrying the group. Last week, more guys played well, but now they're playing the 49ers, so they're going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be able to throw the ball. And the Bills at 3, I think the Bills win big, but there is a scenario where they get upset, and that's if the Raiders come out pounding the football, control the clock, and run very well. I could see that scenario, but I think the Bills come out firing. They're pissed off in the last game. They're going to throw the ball over the Raiders, and they get a good lead. Take that run game away. That is the key for this to be a Bills lock big win, is to take away that run game. To do that, you air the ball out and score early and often. I think they do that. The Giants at 4, I like the top 3 ahead of the other ones, obviously, kind of like last week, but the Giants should beat the Cardinals. The blitz factor, their defense should lock it down, make some plays, and the Eagles should beat the Vikings. Both teams missing some guys. Eagles are at home in prime time. They're better, and they have the matchup. They're the favorites in terms of the matchup, how you look at it on the field. Both sides of the ball. So those are my 5 straight-up locks. And moving on, we have my favorite upset pick / Moneyline options. And I got the Steelers at +105 here over the Browns. It's a tough one because the Browns are better, and the Steelers are missing Cam Hayward and Deontay Johnson, so that is pretty tough. And the Browns looked really, really good last week. Their defense looked elite. I think the Steelers' defense gets back on track, though. I think T.J. Watt gives DeJuan Jones, which I think DeJuan Jones is going to end up being a steal of a pick. I think he's going to end up being good, but I think T.J. Watt in Jones' first start gives him some problems. I think it's a defensive game for sure. And I think the Steelers squeak it out. They're home. It's because they're home. That's why I think they squeak it out. They're on a 20-game win streak, home Monday night. It's ridiculous. Doesn't mean they'll win forever and ever on that, but it's hard to go against them here. They also have success home against the Browns. So I think it's I think it's an upset if they lose it, just based on those factors. And even though the Steelers look like one of the worst teams in football last week, I'm not going to base too much off week 1. I still think they're a pretty good team. Are they a playoff team? That's another debate. I think they're a pretty good team on paper, and they're a well-coached team. So I think they figured out. And we still don't really know a whole lot about the Browns' offense. I know that Nick Chubb could run the ball pretty well. I think George Pickens has a pretty good game. I don't think the Steelers go crazy offensively, but I think T.J. Watt's the main factor. So I'm going to go with the Steelers plus 105. And then the Texans I have winning as well, which I've actually seen some betting apps, having them with these odds, and some, both the Texans and the Colts are, minus. So that's interesting. But I have the Texans winning in a squeaker at home and the Jags plus 154. A lot of people are picking the Chiefs. They got Kelsey coming back. It looks like they have Chris Jones definitely coming back. But they're in Jacksonville. The Jags could win that game. They're a very good football team, so plus 154 looks pretty good if you're looking for more of the odds. Last week, my lock won, and then the money line picks went 3-1. So once again, we did pretty well on those in week 1. Moving on to my over-unders. I had 2 last week. I ended up going with 2 this week. There's a couple other ones I thought about. I said that last week too. I had 2 on here, and there's and I think I mentioned Titans Saints. I almost threw the under of that on there, and if I did, I would have went 3-0. I went 2-0 last week. So even the picks I didn't put on here are on. And the other ones I thought about, the next one was the Steelers and the Browns. I'm back and forth on throwing this on there. I like the under on the Steelers. So if you made me put a third one, Steelers Browns under, but it's gonna be right there, right around 39. It's gonna be right there. And then the Titans and the Chargers should stay under, but I kind of got scared of that one because the Chargers could go crazy. They can score in the 30s again on their own, and the Titans could run the ball. Derrick Henry can get good amount of points on his own. So that one, I think it'll be under the 45, I believe it is, but it's a little scary there. But number 1, I'm going to go with the Giants and Cardinals, which is also scary, but I do like it staying. It bumped up a little bit to 40, but it's scary because the Giants could score on defense, and they might be able to score a bit on offense as well. But I think if they're doing so well like that, they're going to run clock. They're going to just drain this game away. And if they're doing that well on defense, scoring on defense, or getting the turnovers, like I think they will, then the Cardinals really aren't going to be scoring any points. So the Giants, if their scenario is scoring 30 plus, I don't think the Cardinals are going to score any, or maybe just a little bit, but that, 7, but I don't really see the Giants scoring that many points. I think Cardinals are a well-coached defense. They'll limit them. They won't stop them. And the Giants will blitz the shit out of Josh Dobbs, cause some problems. So I don't expect them to score more than 13 points. So I like that it went from 39.5 to 40. So I like that. And then Indy and Houston is a pretty good one as well. Actually, my score prediction was actually pretty damn low, but I could see scenarios where both defenses could score. Or they just have big explosive plays. Maybe end of this game, Anthony Richardson runs wild, for a deep touchdown. Dameon Pierce runs for a deep touchdown. Just adds those extra points that just from one explosive play, where it kind of ruins it. But 39.5 is kind of a lot. I had a 16-14 final. I think this will mainly be defense. I think, the Colts' best bet at scoring a good amount of points is Anthony Richardson running. And maybe Michael Pittman, but I like the Texans' corners. D'Amico Ryans is also the best at calling coverages, each play, or one of the best. I think he's the best at football. And then I think he'll have a good game plan for kind of spying and keeping Richardson limited. We saw what they did to Lamar Jackson. And for the Texans, their offense is still young and inexperienced. So I think they can have some success in this game, but I don't really expect them to score a whole lot of points. So I think this will stay under as well. You can almost flip those. I'm pretty much even with the Giants, Cardinals, and the Texans, Colts, but I'm going to go with the Giants one just because I'm very confident about their defense just causing big-time problems with the Cardinals. There's a scenario where the Cardinals don't score at all. I think they'll score points, but I did mention the other ones I thought about as well. The Steelers, Browns were right there for being added. I don't really like over. If I had to pick an over, history, the past shows, unders are the best bet early in years. But if I had to pick an over, the Chiefs and the Jags should go over. It should go over. We were 2-0 on those last week. And then my parlay / best bets ranked, you can kind of use these to make your own parlay. Last week, I kind of created a top 5. This week, there's not a lot of odds, I should say, within the compared to last week, because we do have some heavy favorite money line picks in here. But yeah, last week I drew a line under 5 because I really, really liked the 5-game parlay, and the 5-game parlay hit. I saw somebody commented on a different video that you shouldn't do 5, you should do 3 or 4. Well, I'm not necessarily forcing the 5. I have 10 options for you, and they're in order, so you can do the top 3, So, but there's the list of them. Last week we killed this. I had 10 on there, and the first 9 all hit. So if you did a 9-game parlay, congratulations, you're a madman, and you got it. And you probably won a lot of money. I've had people tweeting at me that they won money doing the 5, the 4, the 6 game, whatever it may be. So that was awesome. This week is tougher than week 1. Usually I have a tougher time at week 1. I felt really good about week 1 last week, and it worked out. Week 2 is definitely tougher. We have some safer picks, some less odds in here, but... yeah, I like the Giants minus 4.5 as the top. I mean, obviously, what I'm most confident in is some of those money lines like Dallas, but you do factor in the odds here. So here, I'll give you another scenario where you can tweak the rankings up a little bit. If you're trying to get some more odds in your parlay, you say you want to do a 4-game, and you have the Giants, Cowboys, and the Giants under in there, but you don't like the odds at all because the odds wouldn't be that great with the 4-game with 2 money line Cowboys and 49ers. Maybe you want to get some good odds in the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 105 if you're on board with the Steelers winning. If you really don't see it, don't do it. But if you're on board with them winning that game, throw that one up there. For the 4-game or the 5-game just to get a little bit more odds if you're feeling it. But I ranked at 7 because the Browns are the better team. They could win that game. I'm kind of riding the Steelers streak, a Monday night streak against the Browns streak at home, and then TJ Watt going crazy in that game. So you might want to, that's kind of just my pointer there. If you want more odds, you could bump, and you like that one, you can bump it up a little bit. But a lot of money line ones in here. Week 2 is where we really learn things, like what was pretend in week 1, and week 3 kind of be the same thing. What was pretend in the first 2 weeks, but I did feel a little bit, I feel good about these, otherwise I wouldn't put them on there. So that's first off. But I did feel better going into week 1, a little bit better. But I always say, like, a good thing to do, for videos like this. I know people probably want to trust me because, and I know what I'm talking about, but because I did good in week 1. But I'd say what I like to do is kind of get my picks together, and then people that I trust, like, see what matches up. So if you have something on here before you watch this video that you hate, I wouldn't completely change your mind. If you were kind of on the fence and you think I convinced you, then okay. But so a lot of time, if you disagree with something, don't just force bet it. That's just kind of my tip there. I think I said that something like that last week as well. But we had a long season. I'm excited. I'm excited for all of our content, which is pretty much all up for week 2, so you can check that out. Some of those other videos would be helpful if you're putting money on games as well. Twitter subscribers you see right here get these extra contents if you like betting on college football. I tweet out those for Twitter subscribers only. Those did very well last week too. Week 1 did not because it's week 1. Week 2 did very well. But some more action for Twitter subscribers as well. So you can check that out. Links pinned in the comments for our Twitter, for social media, for recent videos, for the giveaway, the Picks League, anything like that. So check that out. Check out our recent videos. You will not be disappointed in our content. We got loads of it, and we'll add more trade deadline, playoff predictions, things like that, mock drafts. So join us. We much appreciate it. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.